Well, here's a little lesson on Economics 101 from the Jugal School of whatever. And I'm going to talk about parts inventory today and spare parts. Now, if you take a look at all these bins, I mean, there are parts in here galore. I mean, look at this. I forget what these are, but they're cute. Oh, yeah, those are USB connectors. And I'm going to explain to you why I've got so many of these parts here, most of which, probably 99.999% of which, I'm never going to use. So one might ask, well, why the hell do you have them? And you know, it's one of those things that I just might need them sometime. So I'm hanging on to them, and you might say, well, how'd you get them in the first place? Look at here. These I've got labeled. These are .01 discs. I mean, you do use a few of those every once in a while, but I got a lot of them here. You might say, well, why so many? And I'll tell you. I'm going to tell you. I'm wanting to tell you. I'm waiting to tell you. I'm going to tell you that I got them because that was Stanley Holloway and My Fair Lady, I believe. Governor, I'm waiting to tell you. I'm wanting to tell you. Anyway, this is sometime or another I needed one or two of these parts or whatever, and if you go around and start shopping for parts, you'll see that when you buy just singles or doubles or 5 at a time or like that, those things are pretty expensive. I mean, you might pay $5 a piece for one of these caps, and I'm not exaggerating. But then you might find out you can get 500 of them for $25. You see a lot of the expenses in the storage and the handling and the packaging, and so you can always get more than if you buy in bulk, you get more for less on a per item price. But some might question the economy of that, because here's some more parts over here. They might question the economy of that because then you have all these parts you're not using, and you did probably put a few more bucks out than you would have if you'd have just bought the one or two that you need. There we got a bunch of 1-watt resistors. These are all full of resistors sorted, so I could just go pull them by value. Other parts, I mean, look at here. These are coils, little inductors. And I mean, I've got a little bit of everything in here. I've got some Cat5 cable connectors and devices, more capacitors. I got capacitors up the yin-yang. Here's another bulk purchase. These are 3300 microfarad, 25 volts. The thing that's interesting about capacitors is if you work on tube equipment, you have to have a lot higher voltage rating, because tubes operate at a lot higher voltage, most people know, than solid state circuits do. There's some more ICs. I mean, if you need it, it's here. Except, you know, one of the problems with this is that there's so very, very many different types of everything nowadays that it seems like whenever you really do need something and you're doing a repair project especially, why, you start checking around for parts and you've got every part you could possibly imagine, and except for that particular part. Here's some shell casings that I bought in bulk one time. They're 9mm, but I've got probably 10,000 rounds of loaded 9mm already. So they've been sitting there for a couple of years. More parts right here, waiting for someday that I really need them and say, aha, I've got the part right here that I need. Parts and tools. If we go around here, there's a project I'm working on there, a signal generator. We go around here, what do we got? Yep, you guessed it, more parts. I mean, we got parts of parts and some of this stuff. These are a lot of the Arduino things, a little mini computer, a microcomputer, or microcontrollers they call them. You can never have too many of those, I figure. Also, buying them in bulk. I'm going to give you a couple of examples here now, real-time examples. You might have seen one of my latest videos on restoring and refurbishing this old Globe Scout transmitter built back in the 50s from World Radio Labs. And I documented some of the steps that you go through on this old gear. This is a piece of tube equipment, of course. Not much solid state back then. It was still experimental in Bell Labs. That's where the transistors originally came from. Judge Green, I think it was, screwed that up by breaking up Bell Labs. Anyway, I want you to notice a couple of parts in here that I need. This is an SO239 socket here for putting. That's for putting my. That's for putting my antenna connections in there, and that runs very nicely over to all of this other equipment that's hooked up to test it. And if you look at this, it's a little pilot light that was used a lot in tube type equipment. It's a number 47 GE. Well, I needed one of those, so I ordered some of those. I only needed one. Then I was digging around in my parts box and I found one that was in another socket, but I took it out of the socket and I'm using it now, so that's what I did there. And however, I'd already ordered the other ones. Now, I don't run around town looking for parts much anymore like I used to. It used to be a real bear getting parts until the internet came along. And nowadays, when I just find I need something, it's so easy to sit down at the internet, do a quick search, and pow. I mean, eBay especially, this stuff pops up all over the place. Some of it on Amazon, although Amazon is not quite as, doesn't have the in-depth used parts for like the old gear that eBay has, because a lot of experimenters and hobbyists like me use eBay. So as you can see, when you run across some of these old parts that you need, why, it's much easier to get on the internet and order them. However, when you start to order this stuff on the internet, you'll find that you'll run across one or two for maybe $5 each, and then you can get 5,000 of them for a total of $50 or something like that. So what's the old kid do? He says, man, I can't pay that $5 per this once-in-a-lifetime purchase I'm going to make, so just in case I ever need the rest of them and need them again, I'm going to buy that $50 batch. Yep, you're starting to get the idea now, probably. All right, let's go over and take a look at our latest purchases for this guy. Well, here you have the SO239s. I bought those babies from eBay, and I got 25 of them. I got 25 of them for, let's see what I pay. I paid, looking at them here, $26.95 for 25 of them, just a little over $1 a piece. I'm in such a deal, even though I only need 2 of them. Separate them from the pack. We still got 23 of them left for future projects. Now these, I'll use some of these, because I had a stash of them before and I gradually used them all up. This is pretty common. It's usable in both the tube type gear and the solid state gear. It's a common coaxial connector for the HF radio systems that I work on. Then, so I went ahead, I got a good stash of those. That little bulb. I found these little bulbs all the way from, I mean, a couple bucks a piece up to like $8 or $9 a piece. And the little suckers always had some shipping that was attached to them too, so it'd be $3 or $4 extra for shipping. One guy wanted the $8 for the shipping, just one bulb, or maybe a couple of bulbs. So I looked around and I said, you know, I can get 30 of these little suckers for $8.90. I don't know if you can see that on here, but I could get 30 of them for $8.90, and the shipping was free. I mean, you can't beat a deal like that, so here they are. But then, since I found the found that other number 47 in one of my old other parts in the parts bin and use that. I really didn't need these at all. But I'm telling you, I feel really good about that purchase because they were really cheap and I got them if I ever need them again, although I haven't needed one for 30 years. But you can never tell. So then I was looking through my old parts supply and I ran across this cool little dude that it's a failed lightning arrestor that I used on one of my coax antennas coming in the house from out on the tower. So instead of just pitching it like a lot of people would, I took it apart and I kept the pieces, and lo and behold, looky there. Looky there. I got two of those little suckers right there, and they're perfectly good. All I have to do is just unsolder that capacitor that was in there, and mount those little babies on the back of that chassis, and I'm off and running. I wouldn't have had to buy these things at all. But, you know, I'll use them someday. All right, I mean, we got that taken care of. That, my friends, that's how you do it. That's how economy works into this pottery repair business. Yes, sirree. Yep. If you ever need one of these, give me a call. I'll make you a deal. Or number 47, GE 47 pilot light. Those are used as pilot lights a lot in that older equipment. Okay. That's about the end of that. Ciao.